It spins. Content that might incite the passions of viewers. I enjoy it, but it's not for everybody. Hi, I'm Sock Marionette, also known as a Bargain Counter Argument, and I'm a middle-aged lady in a tiara talking about books, except that's what I usually am. But today I'm a middle-aged lady in a tiara talking about movies. Several months ago, like I think it was back in March or April, and it's July now, almost the end of July, I recorded a video of me organizing this room in which I am now, which is beautiful downtown my sitting room. I have a large TV, some comfy couches and so on, and some books and all my DVDs. I recorded that. It's like kind of like a whole room reorganization, except that since then I've done a whole bunch of other stuff to this room, so that's not really relevant anymore. But one of the things that I did was organize my DVD collection, and that information is still solid. So, so I just recorded it and then didn't do anything with it, and now I'm finally doing that and recording. There'll be a clip at the end from today in July where I show some stuff that I talked about in the video from March, but didn't actually show on camera, but now I did. And I'm just wearing the same tiara and shirt just for, a kind of weak stab at continuity. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy this insight into what I like for movies and what I have in my DVD collection, what I've watched, what I haven't watched, and so on. And then I'll be back at the end, like I said, to show you a couple more things. And I hope you enjoy it. Okay, this is a shelf I refer to as the spinny thing because it spins. And this is where I have my DVDs on the top, 2 sets of shelves, and then lower down I have some horror novels. I think it's all horror. There might be some science fiction in there too. My science fiction is mostly in my bedroom. So now I'm going to do the DVD sort. Just going to do this until I run out of storage space on my camera. Okay, so like I said, it's alphabetical, and these are the ones that start with numbers. So we've got 1408, which is horror. I've seen it. I like it. Decided to keep it. 28 Days Later, which I've seen and liked. And 28 Weeks Later, which I haven't yet seen. And I know I don't know if there's a 28 Months Later, but I think recently 28 Years Later came out, so I'm going to want to watch that. And then the other number one is 12 Monkeys, which I really like. This is like one of my top 10 movies of all time. So, yeah. So, I think these 3 count as horror. And this one is, I'm going to call this science fiction. I mean, science fiction and horror, there's a lot of overlap. Dark City, another of my top 10. Love it, love it, love it. And this is science fiction. Down with Love is a fun comedy with Renee Zellweger, Ewan McGregor. And it is kind of like an homage to those kinds of Doris Day, Rock Hudson movies, which I also like. I have the Doris Day, Rock Hudson collection. I think they should probably be shelved together. This includes Pillow Talk, Lover Come Back, and Send Me No Flowers. Next up, Fantasia 2000. I saw this in theaters when it came out. I was like one of the few people who did, and I really, really liked it. And at the time, we were actually living next door I was living in Southern California at the beach, and next door to us was a condo, and we lived there in the condo full time, and next door to us was the weekend and holiday condo for a guy who was vice president of Disney and his wife and their kids. And he was actually the one who spearheaded Fantasia 2000. And my mom told him that I saw it in the theater. And he said, "Oh, what did she think?" And she says, "Oh, she really loved it. She really, really liked it." And that was around the same time that that was not too long after my dad died. And she said it really lifted her spirits. And Peter thought that was, she said his face just lit up like he'd gotten a stellar review from Kenneth Turan in the Los Angeles Times, which this movie did not get a stellar review from Kenneth Turan in the Los Angeles Times. But I really, really liked it. So I think I'm just going to put that over here as just a general feature because I don't have a lot of animated works. Frailty, horror. I really, really like this movie. It is Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey, directed by Bill Paxton. I really, really like this one a lot. I'm going to call it horror. Gods and Monsters, which I haven't seen, which is about James Whale. It's a fictional. It's Ian McKellen and Brendan Fraser. James Whale, who I think directed Frankenstein. He was a weird guy, apparently. I think I'm going to go ahead and put that with horror. I don't think this is actually a horror feature, but it is kind of, because it's about James Whale, horror adjacent. Okay, The Good Shepherd, which is Matt Damon, Angelina Jolie, and Robert De Niro, which is a spy movie from the Cold War, which I have not watched yet. I'm going to put that as a general feature. Goodfellas, crime, Martin Scorsese. Haven't actually watched it yet, but I intend to, because I like his work in general. So I'm going to put that as a general feature. Hellraiser and Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. Like those. Clive Barker fan here. So I'm going to definitely put that with horror. Inception. I like this. I don't know if I would call this science fiction or general feature. I'm going to go ahead and put it as a general feature. Looper. Really like this one. I kept checking this movie out from the library, and then when I saw it at like the $5 bin at Walmart, I went ahead and got my own copy. That is, I'm going to call that one science fiction. The Night Listener with Robin Williams. I actually haven't watched this yet, but I will. General feature. Planet of the Apes Legacy Collection. This is just the original Planet of the Apes from, was it 1968, 1969? And Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Controversial opinion, but my favorite is Beneath the Planet of the Apes, although I like all of them. Controversial opinion as well. But I actually kind of like Beneath better than the first one. I mean, as a story, I like it better. But the first one's really good too as a movie, so that's going to go with the science fiction pile. The Queen with Helen Mirren. Really, really like this one. There's a bonus track on here. There's a track for the director, but there's also a track for Robin Lacey, who is a biographer and historian of the monarchy. So that's fun to listen to. That's going to go as a general feature. The Queen's Sister, which is, I don't know, is this a TV movie? This might actually be a mini series. I don't remember how long it is. This was made for television, and it's about Princess Margaret. It's pretty good. I had a good time with it. Quills, which is about the Marquis de Sade with Geoffrey Rush and Kate Winslet. Have not watched this yet. General feature. Resident Evil Apocalypse. I just, zombies. Love my zombies. That's going to go with horror. And also Resident Evil Extinction, which I haven't watched yet. That's going to go with horror. Return to Oz. I have not actually watched this yet. I think it's probably horror, but I'm going to put it as a general feature. The Room. This is like the classic bad movie to end all bad movies. Directed and written by and starring this dude, Tommy Wiseau. And he chose this picture to advertise this movie. And in this movie, he is the supposed to be sympathetic protagonist. And that's the picture he went with to demonstrate that. Yeah, it's notorious for a reason. General feature. A Royal Night Out, which I haven't actually watched yet. This is about this incident when the Victory in Europe Day, the royal family went out on the balcony and waved at the people at Buckingham. They were on the balcony at Buckingham Palace, and they waved to everybody below in celebration of triumph over fascism in Europe. And the two women who were on the balcony, the two young women who were on the balcony with the king and queen, were actually not Princesses Margaret and Elizabeth, or I think they were briefly and then they left. Anyway, they went out and they just snuck out into the crowds. And I mean, they had protection with them, and a lot of people recognized them but didn't say anything. And I think they did it again for VJ Day, Victory in Japan Day. I'm not sure. I haven't watched it yet, but I will. This is Scruples. I forgot I had this on DVD. This is Scruples. It is a miniseries from the 70s or 80s. It was based on Judith Kranz's 1977 novel, Scruples, which is just like, it's about rich people behaving badly and buying a lot of luxury goods. I am so into this. This is like the Dynasty era, or a precursor to Dynasty. I am so into that kind of thing. I don't know whether I'm going to put that in a separate stack for television, maybe. Serenity is this is the feature film wrap up of Firefly. Joss Whedon, who is now, I know, kind of problematic about the way he treats his personnel, but still a good movie. Haven't watched it. Stranger Than Fiction. I was just talking about this in the live stream last night. This is Will Ferrell in a sort of it's comedy drama, and it also stars Maggie Gyllenhaal, Dustin Hoffman, Queen Latifah, and Emma Thompson. And it's about this guy who realizes that he is a fictional character, and so he's tracking down the person who's writing the book in which he is a fictional character. It's fun. It's meta. It's a general feature. And science fiction, THX 1138, another one of my top 10. This was an expansion on George Lucas's student project that he did when he was studying film at, I can't remember if he was UCLA or USC. I think he was UCLA, but I'm not sure. Starring Robert Duvall and Donald Pleasance and what was the name of? Maggie McComey. It's good. It is, like I said, it's one of my favorites, and it's science fiction. Okay, moving right along. We're getting to the end of the features. Whole Wide World with Vincent D'Onofrio and Renee Zellweger. I think it's a touching and near flawless love story, according to, I don't have my reading glasses because some critic. Atlanta Journal-Constitution, I think. Anyway, I'm going to put that as a general feature. I haven't watched it yet. More Oz action. The Witches of Oz. Haven't watched it yet. Will. Okay, now we're getting into my TV series, and I'm at almost 13 minutes for this clip, plus I've filmed a couple of, recorded, I'm not using film, I recorded a couple of clips of cleaning, so I need to go transfer this stuff onto my computer so that I can clear the storage on my phone so that I can continue. And we're back. Boy, stopping to clear the storage on the phone is a real momentum killer. On the plus side, I did enjoy the pause that refreshes. And I got a pair of glasses. Okay, now we're getting into the TV series. I think this is a little pig whistle that I got in Nevada City, California in the early 90s. And I put it on my coffee table. And when people would pick it up, I'd say, kiss a pig's butt, $5. $5 being what I paid for it. And kissing a pig's butt is how you make the whistle. Did I mention I was like in my early 20s at the time? The thing is that I'm now much older than that, and I still think it's funny. Kiss a pig's butt, $5. Never gets old, unlike me. Okay, so here, I think I do have the TV series. I don't know how I have these split out. And what I don't have out, and I should have gotten them out for demonstration purposes, is that I have the TV series The Avengers. Not the MCU property, but The Avengers was an early 60s British, well, actually, I think it ran through most of the 60s, British kind of spy adventure show, which was, for a while, it was a co-production with ABC in the United States. I have that. It's really big, though, and I don't have it stored over here, and the same with my Wonder Woman TV series, which is the one from the 70s with Linda Carter. It's not over here. It's stored elsewhere. Okay, so what I have here is, I found this for cheap at Walmart, and that is Lex, which was kind of a cult. It's a weird Canadian, French, German co-production, science fiction from the late 90s, early 2000s, and if you like weird, Lex will get it for you. So I'm going to put that as TV science fiction. Also TV science fiction, Terminator the Sarah Connor Chronicles, really like that. I really like Lex, otherwise I wouldn't have bought it. I had already I'd seen most of it on TV, but I wanted my own copy. One Step Beyond is interesting. That's an anthology series from the 50s, and it's kind of like a precursor to The Twilight Zone. It's not as good, but it is kind of 20 true stories of the mysterious and unexplained, but they are presented as drama rather than as a documentary. And speaking of Twilight Zone, we have the Twilight Zone after the Twilight Zone with more of an emphasis on horror, and that was Night Gallery, which is Rod Serling's project, next major television series project after the Twilight Zone. I think it started in 68 or 69 and it went into the early 70s, 3 seasons. And I just really like this. It's an anthology series, like I said, kind of like the Twilight Zone, but with more of an emphasis on horror. And horror, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, which are adaptations of short stories by Stephen King that were collected in the book Nightmares and Dreamscapes and were dramatized. Some of them are good, some of them aren't. That's how it goes. And a couple of political miniseries, The Company by Robert Little. I've seen it, I've read the book, it's really good, and I want to watch it again sooner or later. It's Kevin Costner and Chris O'Donnell and Alfred Molina. It's Cold War miniseries. And it's good. And a political miniseries I haven't watched yet, it's Trudeau with Colm Fiore and Polly Shannon. And it's about Pierre Trudeau, father of Justin. So, who was it? Yeah. Prime Minister of Canada. I think he was discontinuous. I think he had one term and then somebody else was in and then he was in. I haven't watched it yet. I don't remember all of my Canadian late 20th century history. Okay, now we're getting into film collections and anthologies. And this entire shelf, these are what are called pre-code films. After, these are movies that were made after talking pictures became the norm. So from about 1929, 1930, going on up until 1933, I think it was. During that time, a lot of movies were made, and most of them were, family friendly, or they were dramas that weren't dealt with issues, but they weren't particularly objectionable. But some were made which were had like sexual content and people just being free and easy or getting divorced or other things that were considered controversial at the time. And the film industry was really, really worried that they were going to get censored by the government because it was a new medium and there were concerns about content that might incite the passions of viewers in a way that was negative to society. So in order to prevent the government from censoring them, the studios decided to censor themselves, and they hired somebody, Joseph Breen, to come in and create a kind of a code of conduct, do's and don'ts, and they actually made that enforceable by the so that if you wanted to make a movie with a big studio, you had to adhere by that code. And if you wanted to exhibit your movie, the exhibitors would only show movies that were shown to be in compliance with the code. The Hays Office was the name of the Hays Code was what it was called, and the Hays Office was the name of the office that enforced it, that determined whether or not movies contained objectionable content. I am very interested in that period of Hollywood filmmaking, both before and after. And if people want to see an entire video about the Hays Code, there are a lot of creators have done videos about that. I could do one too. Just let me know in the comments if that's interesting to you. Because really it only just takes one person saying, oh yeah, I might watch that. And I'll be like, oh, I'm going to do it. There's huge demand for it. So that's what all of these are. So I could do a more detailed video talking about the Hays Code and what those movies are. And it looks like that's the end of that top shelf. And because crouching down for this second shelf is kind of a pain, I'm just going to pause you for a second and move. Well, actually, I'll just pull them off the bottom shelf. The middle shelf. These are more anthology collections. This one is Dangerous Dames Collection. That's Barbara Stanwyck on the cover. It's various movies about femme fatales. 6 classic films on DVD, and they are, I knew I had them somewhere. Too Late for Tears with Lisbeth Scott. Lady of Burlesque with Barbara Stanwyck. Blonde Ice with Leslie Brooks. Strange Love of Martha Ivers, Barbara Stanwyck. That was why I wanted to get this, because I really like The Strange Love of Martha Ivers. And I could buy it as a single movie. For the same price, I could get this compilation. so I went ahead and got the compilation, but I haven't seen any. I think I have seen Lady of Burlesque. Please Murder Me with Angela Lansbury. Oh, I did watch that one. I watched that one as well. And A Life at Stake, also with Angela Lansbury. I've seen Please Murder Me, but not A Life at Stake. So, and then I also have Bad Girls of Film Noir, which is 4 movies: The Killer That Stalked New York, Two of a Kind, Bad for Each Other, and The Glass Wall. Which is really, that's Gloria Graham, which is actually The Glass Wall centers more on the male protagonist. I've seen Bad for Each Other and The Glass Wall. I haven't seen the other 2. And then I have some of these movies that have fallen into the public domain, sometimes because of age, sometimes because people just didn't bother to renew or assert their copyright claim for them, forgotten. And they frequently get put into these, you get like 50 movies for like $10 because these are no-frills DVDs of movies that are in the public domain. So Mill Creek is the name of the distributor that does a lot of those. So here I have Hollywood Classics, and this is 100 DVDs, and it's just like got a lot of movies, including some that are kind of well thought of, like Meet John Doe, and some others that are a little bit not. The Fat Spy with Jane Mansfield. And they misspelled on this, Mill Creek misspelled Jane Mansfield's name. It has a Y. They forgot that. And then I have, these sets are 50 movies each, and they are decade. And there's some overlap with what's in here, but not a whole lot. These are by the decade. So we have 1960. That's Anne Margaret in Kitten with a Whip on the cover. And that was done as a Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode in the 6th season. John Forsythe was in that. It was a fun episode. Is this the Sensational 60s? Did I say they were swinging 60s? These are the Sensational 60s. These are the swinging 70s. And I liked it. Bill Cosby's on the cover, which meant something different a few years ago. And also Sally Field and Sissy Spacek and Charles Bronson are on there as well. And Telly Savalas. Okay. And the excellent 80s. And who do we have on the cover? Oh, people I don't recognize. Christopher Plummer, Helena Bonham Carter, Ted Danson, Michael Hasselhoff, and some other folks. There's like a historical swashbuckling romance on here. Since it is public domain, I will double check the status of that, and maybe I could do something with that, have a watch party or something. I'll figure that out. Or ask somebody else to figure it out for me. I might outsource this. And then we have some collections that are based on specific artists. So we have the Jean Arthur Drama Collection. You can also get the Jean Arthur Comedy Collection. She was a movie star in the 30s, 40s, and she doesn't get a lot of mention these days, but she's good. And Joan Crawford in the 50s. Oh my gosh, Joan Crawford. Oh, she was in those melodramas that I love so much. This has got Queen Bee, which is actually really, really quite awful, and Harriet Craig, which was based on a stage play that was written by Grace Kelly's uncle, who was a renowned playwright. The story of Esther Costello and Autumn Leaves. So I've seen Harriet Craig and Autumn Leaves, which I liked. Harriet Craig was much better than Autumn Leaves. And Queen Bee, which was that was a DNF. And the story of Esther Costello I haven't watched yet. And this is also Joan Crawford. This is volume 2 because it had the ones on it that I really wanted to watch. This is... Oh, I have a Joan Crawford collection in the other room, which I forgot to bring in here, that has the ones I really, really like Mildred Pierce and especially The Damned Don't Cry. I love that movie so hard. That is another one of my top 10. Sadie McKee, Flamingo Road, Strange Cargo, A Woman's Face, and Torch Song. Torch Song was really, really bad. Really bad. Flamingo Road I enjoyed, and yeah... I haven't seen Strange Cargo. Sadie McKee, Flamingo Road, and A Woman's Face were pretty good. Torch Song was just awful. I think I finished it, but barely. I don't know. And then I have the Marilyn Monroe collection. This is just like pretty much every movie she was ever in. They don't play very well, though, so I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with them or if I can fix them. Barbara Stanwyck collection, love her so much. Interns Can't Take Money, The Great Man's Lady, The Bride Wore Boots, The Lady Gambles, All I Desire, and There's Always Tomorrow. I haven't watched all of those yet. She's on a fair number of the pre-code anthologies as well. And another Barbara Stanwyck compilation, Babyface, My Reputation, Annie Oakley, and East Side West Side. Babyface is another one of my top 10. Just that's a pre-code movie for sure. It's one of my top 10. And then this is for the director Douglas Sirk, and he made a lot of really lush melodramas with a lot of really interesting use of color and set design. Has anyone seen My Gal? Actually, these are some of his earlier works. Some of these are what's the word I'm looking for? Black and white, or black and white in musicals. Like, has anyone seen My Gal? All I Desire. Don't know if that's black and white. Yeah, that's black and white. Magnificent Obsession is color, and All That Heaven Allows. That's also Written on the Wind is one of my top 10. The Tarnished Angels and Imitation of Life, which was a remake of a movie that originally starred Claudia Colbert and was an adaptation, was based on a novel. And then I have this one. This is Raise the Red Lantern, the ballet. Another one of my top 10. I think I'm now up to like having 15 top 10 movies. Is Raise the Red Lantern, the Chinese movie that came out in the early 90s. I ordered this on Amazon thinking I was getting the movie, and I actually got a Chinese ballet based on that. So I was not I was not unhappy about that. I still don't have a copy of Raise the Red Lantern, but I do have the ballet. And oh, okay. I thought I was done with that level. And here we have some more compilations. Actually, up here we have a DVD original by YouTube creator Brad Jones, the cinema snob, who makes exploitation movies of his own and enjoys reviewing exploitation movies on his channel. If you don't mind a lot of not safe for work humor, you might be into that. And he also yells a lot as the cinema snob because he's trying to be snobby about exploitation movies. It's kind of, I enjoy it, but it's not for everybody. Now, this is one of the ones he did as a DVD called Nudies, Rudies, and Crudies. He looks at like early nudie movies, like they were made by nudists, and it's something he can't really do on YouTube, so he did this as a DVD compilation. Again, not for everyone. And then here we have some more anthologies. Serial killers. Horror movies. Hammer films. Double feature, The Last Man on Earth and Devil's Messengers. This is based on I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. And it's the most low budget and probably the most faithful adaptation. But it is very low budget, and it's just like Vincent Price just kind of puttering around the house while there are zombies outside. Well, vampire zombies outside. Omega Man was probably the best known. Well, there was also the one with Will Smith. Those were not as faithful adaptations. This is Final Destination series. Or at least the first 4 films. I don't know how many there are now. We have a couple of comedy sets that I got. I got this one, which is Bill Murray. Ghostbusters, Groundhog Day, and Stripes. I got this because I wanted Stripes, but I'm not unhappy to have Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day. And then this one, which I haven't actually taken it out of the packaging yet. I was on vacation and I had to go to a Walmart to pick up some stuff, and it was October, and I picked this up because it had Zombieland, and then I didn't end up watching it. It's got Zombieland, Not Another Teen Movie, and 30 Minutes or Less. Zombieland I like. I haven't seen the other two. Don't know that I might have seen Not Another TV movie. And not another teen movie. Might have seen that. I might have been otherwise occupied while I was watching it. And then this one I got because I wanted 500 Days of Summer. It also includes Water for Elephants, Love and Other Drugs, and The Devil Wears Prada, which I haven't seen yet. But I do really like 500 Days of Summer. 7 Shades of Sexy. This is like 7 intense and seductive films filled with romance, secrets, and dark desires. Yeah, so these are, it's kind of like quasi-erotic, quasi-thrillers from the quasi-90s. And similar to that, we have Crimes of Passion. Includes DOA. It was Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan from the late 80s. And Deadly Secrets. That includes April Fool's Day and Mary Riley, among others. Those are the ones I've heard of. 80s teen drama. The Legend of Billie Jean, Blame It on the Night, Fresh Horses, Fast Forward, Little Nikita, and Immediate Family. I was like, why do I have this? I have it because of Little Nikita. Little Nikita is kind of like the TV show Americans, but from the kid's point of view. It's about a teenager who finds out that he is actually, his parents are actually Soviet sleeper agents in the U.S., and he did not know that. Pause, it refreshes. For post-apocalyptic collection, Children of Men, Waterworld, Skyline, Doomsday. Seen Waterworld, it's not nearly as bad as you've been led to believe, but it's not super great either. Sci-Fi Fever, I've seen a couple of these. There's a H.G. Wells adaptation in here and a couple of other things that I've seen. And Masters of Terror, which includes, oh gosh, gotta get the glasses out. Halloween H2O, Cursed, Phantoms, Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror, Hellraiser Inferno, Dracula 2000, Dracula 2 Ascension, and The Faculty. I think I've seen Children of the Corn 5 and Hellraiser Inferno, but not the others. So, one day I will. And, okay, that's the end of the DVDs, except for the ones that are in the other room that I forgot. There's a Joan Crawford collection and Carole Lombard as well. So that's what I have. That's how I feel about it, and I'm going to do some rearranging. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that deep dive into my DVD collection. There are a couple of things that I talked about but didn't show because when I was doing that, I was also like reorganizing, so I wasn't like going to jump up and get things from other rooms. I mentioned my Avengers DVD set. Now, this is Avengers, the British action-adventure series from the 60s, not the superheroes from DC, not DC, MCU. Marvel, that both the Avengers, the TV show, and the Avengers, the Marvel property, kind of came into being at the same time in the early 60s, but back then, there wasn't a whole lot of necessarily cultural exchange, transatlantic. There was a lot, but not everything. And comic books were still kind of a little bit on the obscure side back then. So actually, the BBC Avengers, which is the set I have here, started off with Patrick Macnee and some dude as the stars. And then when the other actor, I don't remember what happened, but he had to drop out of the production. So they ended up replacing him with an actress called Honor Blackman, and they didn't have time to rewrite the scripts. So her characterization, her dialogue was all basically written for a man. They just changed some pronouns here and there. And they discovered that people enjoyed that dynamic where she was basically written as a man, and they were like, no, we like her. She's rugged, she's capable, and she was. And Honor Blackman was successful enough that she got other offers and left the production under amicable terms, as near as I can tell. She's kind of referenced obliquely here and there, to be the female lead in the Bond movie Goldfingers, a third Bond movie, and she was the female lead in that. And she was replaced by Diana Rigg, who eventually, after a few years, left the show to pursue other opportunities, one of which was being the female lead in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So she played the one woman that Bond actually literally fell in love with. Anyway, but this is the box set. These are the Diana Rigg episodes. I don't have the Honor Blackman episodes, but these are, some of them are black and white, some of them are in color, because ABC here in the US noticed that the Avengers was very popular. There's like kind of there's Diana Rigg. Oh, it's the same on both sides. Anyway, that it was popular and they wanted to put it on air in the United States, but one of the stipulations they had was that they wanted it to be in color. And since they were, paying for it, that's what happened. So it kind of went for, at first it was kind of reality grounded, but it went into more fantastical and science fiction type elements as the series wore on. But it's a lot of fun. The dynamic between Steed and John Steed, which is Patrick Macnee's character, and Emma Peel, which is Diana Rigg's characters. It's absolutely, they're both fun characters on their own, and together they're absolutely delightful. the Avengers. In fact, I like it so much that I got the Avengers dossier, which is like, just talks about different episodes and production information and that kind of thing. So, you know, it's nice to have that resource. Another box set that I didn't talk about, I mean, I may have mentioned it, but it wasn't handy for me to show, was I have the Wonder Woman. This is the complete collection of the episodes starring the 1970s TV show, which I remember watching as it aired, starring Linda Carter. Anyway, so there's DVD commentary on these. I actually haven't watched them yet. I've had them for ages and I haven't watched them yet, but I will. I will. And then another set I had, which I kept this in my closet. My closet's very glamorous, and this is a very glamorous kind of DVD. What's the phrase I'm looking for? The DVD design is very glamorous. So I had it in my closet being glamorous, but now I've moved it in here because I needed the space. So this is the Carole Lombard, the Glamour Collection. She was a glamorous movie star. She mostly starred in like romantic comedies, romances, things like that, in the 20s, well, really mostly in the 30s. And unfortunately, she was on a war bond tour at, I think it was 1942, so fairly early on in the U.S. involvement in World War II. She was off selling war bonds, and she died in a plane crash. And it was very sad. And she was very young. I think she was like maybe in her early 30s. I'm not sure. Anyway, so this design I really like because you have this very glamorous shot of Carole Lombard. And what it is it's actually an outline of this picture. And I just thought that that was a really nice DVD design and very glamorous. And like I said, looked nice in my closet, but I needed the real estate. The other box set I had in there is the Joan Crawford collection. And these are actually, this is 5 movies in 5 different cases. I mean, they could have gotten this much smaller. And the same for the Avengers, but we have Humoresque, which I don't really like. Possessed, which I do. The Women is excellent. Mildred Pierce is awesome. And The Damned Don't Cry, which is my favorite. It is just like so melodramatic and awesome. I mean, hang on, let me see if I can get it out. It's The Damned Don't Cry. It's another one of my many, many top 10 movies. And then the other one I don't have here is, I have a whole bunch of MST3K, Mystery Science Theater 3000 box sets, but since that stuff is all readily available online, I just put those in the attic because I can just watch that online on various streaming services. So let me tell you, that would take up a lot of shelf feet. So if you liked what you saw here, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, share, or don't. I'm not the boss of you. And I hope you have a good day or night.